focusing on all of these things, right? Because that's what the wellness industry does. It brings us, it brings our attention to all these, I like to say, distractions, and
Mhm.
pull you away from thinking of what is the actual thing that's going to move the needle, which is the boring stuff. It's the
Mhm.
basics, and it requires you, when you do the program, it requires you to get really honest with yourself. Like, are you doing the bare minimum, which what we call it, the minimum effective dose when it comes to nutrition training and movement or steps? Are you doing those, and are you doing them well? Because if you're not doing those and doing them well and then not seeing change, okay, let's talk. But
Yeah.
if you're doing all of those things, honestly and truly, it's very unlikely that those are even going to be a concern for you. Hello, and welcome to the For Her Kind podcast, where we break down the truth about health, fitness, and the foundations of lasting mental and physical transformation for women of all ages. I'm Dr. Alisa, founder of For Her Kind.
And I am Christina, FHA coach and partner. We have created this podcast with your steps in mind. So throw on your running shoes, take a walk outside, or jump on that walking pad because the next 20 minutes are for you.
Yes, and today we're diving into a conversation about how everything we've been told about women's health, especially when it comes to hormones, metabolism, and strength training, might not be the full story. We're also breaking down the common misconceptions about nutrition, exercise, and what truly moves the needle when it comes to feeling strong, confident, and healthy. Most importantly, we're breaking this down with Dr. Morgan Ramsay, naturopathic doctor, women's health and fertility specialist,
Mhm.
and of course, a fellow coach at For Her Kind. Hey, Morg.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on our first ever podcast
Yeah,
episode. It's very thrilling.
you're in the hot seat.
Um, And I wanted to I'll give myself a little brief introduction. So, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I've been practicing since 2019, and that's actually initially where I first met Lisa. And I remember after it was like a couple years after we had graduated, we reconnected at a friend's wedding. And I just remember talking to Lisa about, how amazing she looked and then like body composition and how I was feeling like a little bit frustrated with my own progress despite being super active, running all the time, doing yoga all the time, and
Being a naturopath in that
being
space,
back.
right? A leader in that space.
100%. And so it kind of like promotes that mindset, right? Like more cardio, more yoga, lots of like, healthy whole foods that, yes, are really good for us, but might not always, again, push that needle in terms of body composition. So she kind of encouraged me, maybe heavily persuaded me to kind of push me out of my comfort zone. And truly, the rest is history. I fell really in love with weight training, something that I had never really done before. And here I am, a full convert.
Yes. Thank you for trusting me. I am so glad you did. I love having you a part of the team and learning from you. And I know Christina had worked with you prior to us working together For Her Kind as well.
Yeah, we were both clients. And Elisa was like, yeah, you should go meet Morg. Like, she's in Barrie right by you. Cause I was living in Innisfil at the time. And I was going through some fertility issues myself. And I was like, okay, like, let me go check her out. Like, let's see what she has to say. And I'd originally just gone, I think I signed up for acupuncture with you.
Yeah, I do remember. I'm like, I don't think we should do acupuncture.
Yeah, you were like, "No," and I was like, "Just anything, please." And and honestly, you just, like, sat and chatted with me, and you were so real and honest so calming, and for especially for somebody who hasn't yet had kids yet, um, you're I don't know, I like everything about you, you just, like you ease everyone's soul, so
Mhm.
I am really excited that you are gonna be diving in a little bit about this topic, something I'm really passionate about too, and I
Mhm.
think so many women have so much to learn from you.
Oh, that is so, so kind. And I really do love working. I love working in like the female space, the hormone and kind of like hormonal health, but definitely fertility has become really like a passion of mine as well. So I love it. Mm.
So good. So good. Yeah. And then so can you, if you're comfortable, can you tell us a little bit more about the personal side behind what got you in the industry in the first place?
Yeah, 100%. So again, I know I kind of touched on this before, but like I was always an active person. I played competitive sports growing up. Again, and I was always taught like more cardio, less food. That's the kind of mindset that I was stuck in. And to be fair, my nutrition was really never dialed in, but my exercise, I was always kind of trying to do the most, trying to do everything to try to see weight loss, see change in my body. And I really felt like a victim to my own body. I felt stuck. I didn't feel like I could, anything was within my control or within my power.
Mhm.
And again, some things that like I was told growing up, especially was like you're big boned, right? You have diabetes. I have diabetes. I was diagnosed when I was 12, so I have type 1. But I was always told that this is kind of the way it's going to be and like you can't really shift this blueprint. And I just found from really diving into FHK, the foundations, taking a really like inner, like again, a really critical look at like what I was doing on a daily basis and how that was impacting me. It changed my whole perspective about exercise, about diet, about especially exercise for women and what's going to be the most advantageous when we are trying to see changes in our physical health and our mental health.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel like that is the story of every FHK client right there.
100%. And it's not
I
like
call it the,
uncommon.
Mhm,
yeah, and, we're in our 30s, and I just feel like our generation, when we were in our, like, teens and early 20s, like, that was what we were told to do, right? We were told, like, "Go run your life away, and maybe you'll get smaller."
mhm.
And I even like to call it, like, the Paris Hilton era.
Yeah.
Of, like of, just trying to be very, very thin and petite, and that was kind of what was deemed as, like, attractive,
Mhm,
and now we see women in their early 20s lifting heavy shit. It's so awesome.
mhm.
Something more attractive that I see at the gym when I see like a woman with like you can see muscle tone, like she's lifting heavy, she's like taking up space at the gym. And I feel like that is like such a like I see other women in the gym more and more doing that now. And I'm just like, I want to be friends with her.
Oh my gosh. Alisa and I were just in Florida at one of the gyms there, and I feel like the people in Fort Lauderdale live a very, very healthy lifestyle, exercising is part of the lifestyle there, I think. Um, and I saw women 60, 70, 80s with, like, badass muscles there in that gym, and it
Mhm.
was so motivating to see that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what you want, right? Just like when you're thinking about like longevity of health and like all the research kind of shows that like even I was listening to this podcast the other day, it's like quadricep like strength is like directly related to living longer. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so more squats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah, and that's a huge thing too is before nothing was really I like for me personally, I was not focused on building strength for longevity or building strength even like connecting that with physique. It was like
Mhm.
let's lift weights to burn calories.
Yeah.
Let's
Mhm.
right? And then when I shifted to okay, no, like let's actually like try and get stronger over time, that's when I saw my body change, and that's what I was so excited to share with well, with both of you,
Mhm.
initially when I when I pressured you into, doing the program. I'm just kidding. Just a background, they were
Light
both friends beforehand.
light pressure. Yeah.
They were both in my life beforehand. Um, and yeah, that was, like, the biggest needle mover for me, was, like, actually lifting for shape, to build shape. The gym is
Mhm.
a place to build muscle or to build shape, nothing more, nothing less. And that yeah, so that was huge, and then, of course, like, with, like, living longer, women love to complain about their metabolism,
Mm.
right? Yeah, you could probably explain a little bit more about this. You probably hear it all the time. I used to hear it when I was in practice seeing patients, and lifting weights mitigates that,
Yeah.
right?
One of the biggest things that like I because a lot of women will come into practice and say like, I've done all this yo-yo dieting, like my metabolism is broken, like nothing I do is going to make a difference. And I just like that's like one of the biggest myths that I'm trying to bust is that like you're not broken, your body isn't broken, your metabolism isn't broken. It just needs to be reignited. We need to fuel it appropriately. We need to sleep. We need to eat enough food to actually like and eat enough protein to
Mhm.
actually fuel our metabolism to start like, kick back in and get it to fuel its fire.
Mhm.
Um, but I think especially like with the TikTok era also, which I mean, like I am also a victim to TikTok scrolling, but I find it's one of
Call it.
the biggest thorns in my side is just like trying to myth bust everything on there because it's like women are also really focused on hormones now and balancing hormones and like what does that even mean, right? And usually it's more of a it's almost always a reflection of what we're putting into our body and our inputs versus like what our bodies are just creating abnormal hormone havoc. It's not really a real thing.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
and that's the thing too, right? Like focusing on all of these things, right? Because that's what the wellness industry does. It brings us, it brings our attention to all these, I like to say distractions, and
Mhm.
pull you away from thinking of what is the actual thing that's going to move the needle, which is the boring stuff. It's the
Mhm.
basics. And it requires you, when you do the program, it requires you to get really honest with yourself. Like, are you doing the bare minimum, which what we call it, the minimum effective dose when it comes to nutrition training and movement, your steps? Are you doing those, and are you doing them well? Because if you're not doing those and doing them well and then not seeing change, okay, let's talk. But
Yeah.
if you're doing all of those things honestly and truly, it's very unlikely that those are even going to be a concern for you. All of those things, like, there's the array tummy tone, there's
Mhm.
the,
Oh,
even like the over testing. Like, I've stopped recommending testing unless the foundations are so solid that I actually don't move forward with testing with clients or
Mhm.
patients ever.
right. And there's always outliers, right? Like there's some people that are going to have, an over hypothyroid or something that's going to impact weight loss, right?
Yeah.
Like having a PCOS or other kind of diagnoses that may impact, again, how your body loses weight or how easily it loses weight, right? So there's always going to be outliers, but I would say 99% of the time, it's like really taking a critical look at what we're doing on a day-to-day basis and then analyzing, okay, am I actually doing everything? Am I tracking my food appropriately? Am I
Mhm.
leaving out like sauces and alcohol and like, am I actually doing everything within my power to critically analyze my behaviors? And if like, again, if all those things are so solid and there's not we're doing everything perfectly,
Mhm.
quote unquote, I would say like then we look into other things. But I would say 9 times out of 10 people aren't doing just the really boring,
Yeah.
basic, non-sexy foundation of what it means to actually see body composition change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And always, like, I find when clients first start with us, they're just asking for more, like, hacks. "Oh, well, what more can I be doing? What more? What more?" Just take a step back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Take a step back. Are you
Relax, let it be easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
And
are
it's
you just going for a walk?
yeah.
Like, you don't need to jump on the elliptical as well and then, like, do all these other crazy things and walk backwards and whatever, like, just walk forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or hyperfixate on meal timing, or hyperfixate on
Mhm.
what else is something common?
Supplements, all
Supplement.
these
Yeah,
supplements.
And
yeah.
that's one of the biggest things that like I've like the reason why I have loved FHK and I've seen it actually like transition my practice a little bit, like actually a lot, because I used to be so
Mm,
focused on like supplements and doing this perfect supplement plan and doing this and XYZ. And I'm
mm,
just like, it doesn't knowing how impactful the foundations are, it's like, let's take away all the extra noise and just really focus on the baselines. Cause like what you said, Elisa, a lot of the extra things can feel like distractions. We're trying to do all the things instead of focus on like the really core things that are going to make a change. So I'm so much more lifestyle based now. And it's like, are you sleeping? Are you eating are you eating like enough protein at every meal? Are you eating enough fiber? Are you drinking enough water? Like just the basic things that shouldn't actually cost a ton of money. Like all the supplements are making you feel like you should be taking, like especially like the thermogenic supplements that are mostly just like things that are going to make you sweat, like extra caffeine.
yeah, yeah,
You
that's so true. And I also like to address, like a sense of community. Like, are you feeling isolated? Do you feel like you're
Mhm.
involved with something? Do you feel connection? Because that can also create. inability to lose weight from the GHK perspective, which is something that is important to address as well.
Well,
Mhm.
there's nothing, even when I look at like, I did a literature review as part of my, when I graduated from Guelph, and it was on weight loss and probiotics, but then also like weight loss in general, and what kind of strategies work.
Yeah.
And one of them, one of the most important things across the board was like accountability. So it was like, do you have like people who met with coaches more frequently, or people that were checking in on them
Mhm.
actually lost more weight at like the 6 month, the year mark, the 18-month mark, and were able to keep it off. And the reason being is because they had someone, other people to be invested in their success as well, and also felt connected to somebody else, felt that like sense of community, or doing it together, or having someone to talk to about it, because that makes such a huge difference. It really, really does.
Oh, I love that so much. What's one small change, like for our listeners, say they're not a member of FHK community, but what would be one, we can each go around. What's one small change that we would suggest that will have a big impact on their energy, metabolism, progress, consistency, anything like that on their journey of transformation?
I think mine, and again, this is going to be another boring one, because again, we're like really fixating on the boring, but like, I don't think like protein in the morning, like try to like front load your protein in the day too. So try to make your first meal, like again, 30 to 50 grams of protein right there, because that will make I'm going to also focus a lot on blood sugar control, being as a type 1 diabetic. And that's something that I do kind of harp on. All my family, friends, patients, clients will be like, "Well, no, this sounds like me," but if you make a better choice for your breakfast with protein and fiber, the rest of the day is going to be so much easier, because you're full, you're satisfied, your blood sugar is balanced, and you make better decisions throughout the day when you actually have a substantial breakfast that's going to keep you full for long. So if you're doing nothing else, just like eat a reasonable high protein breakfast.
100%. And I would just like to expand on that before maybe we give our favorite breakfast, a high protein breakfast. But in terms of when we say breakfast, so we often get asked like what time to eat is the best. If you do not like to eat first thing and you wake up at 5:30, that is okay. That is the way that I coach it. As long as the first meal you consume, once you break your fast, that's what breakfast is. As long as that first meal is 30 to 50 grams of protein, high protein, whether you have it at 5 in the morning or 10 a.m., it doesn't matter. The reason why I think and there's nothing wrong with what they're saying. A lot of nutritionists or wellness practitioners out there will say like breakfast is so important, breakfast is so important. And I do agree with that, but I don't agree that it needs to be first thing in the morning. What I believe they're saying is just make sure that you are well prepared so that you're not ravenous by the time it's time to eat. Like make sure you prepare to be able to consume a good high quality breakfast and you're not just grabbing something out of pure hunger and like fight or flight.
I totally agree with that too. It doesn't matter. Like again, I wake up in the morning now, and that's one of the biggest shifts that I've seen from actually like making my metabolism. So I think like so much muscle mass is that like I'm starving. As soon as I wake up, my eyes are open. I need to eat something, or I am going to be hangry all day. So I'm someone who likes to eat in the morning, and it usually is within 30 minutes of waking, just because that's my timeline for the day.
Mhm.
But again, it doesn't matter when you eat. Like people, it doesn't matter when you're naturally go with your hunger cues. If you're someone who wants to eat a little bit later in the day, that's fine. Just make sure that when you do eat, it's something that's not like a muffin.
Yes. Yeah, please. Oh, I used to love muffins. They're not worth it to me. I can make delicious an oat bowl or a yogurt bowl or a chia bowl, and it's like way more satisfying than that to me. Okay, quickly. Favorite breakfast right now? High protein breakfast. Christina, you first.
Oh, always. Eggs and salmon.
Eggs and salmon. I knew you
Always.
would say that. Good breakfast. How about you, Morg?
Mine is always egg. I do like eggs and then a ton of egg white in an omelet. And then I do toast and cottage cheese. My breakfast is pretty big, actually. Like I eat a lot of things in the
That's
morning.
much.
Basically, I'm having 3 meals in one. But yes, that's what I try to do in the morning, because I feel like if I'm going sweet though, I do a yogurt bowl with protein powder. But usually I'm a heavy egg toast kind of gal.
I have gotten on that pressed cottage cheese.
I've never had it, but
Oh
I've
my
seen
gosh,
it
it's
all
so
over
good.
TikTok too, and I'm like, "Do I get it?"
Yes, you can order it from Costco or they have it everywhere, but Costco, Walmart has it, but Costco is probably the cheapest. It comes in a 2-pack. It's, like, crumbly instead of runny.
Oh, that might be a nice switch.
And yeah, so when you make a scrambled egg, it's really good. So highly recommend that to
Mm.
get 7 grams of protein in half a cup.
That's kind of insane because I think
It's
like a
insane.
it's about 14 grams per half a cup for regular cottage cheese, so it's almost like double.
Yeah, I think it's now I'm starting to doubt myself. I'm pretty sure it's 27. But, like, it's yeah, it's so great, and I'm actually even, like, mixing it in my baby's eggs as well.
Mm,
So, yeah, it's a double whammy. It's so good.
I love that. Are you guys gonna ask me?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
you're
yours,
in.
Lisa.
Are you gonna ask me to eat now or no?
Okay, I love sweet in the morning. I have my sweet tooth is in the morning. It's not at night because I like that with coffee. So I'll either do
Mhm.
oats or my yogurt bowl, but or like peanut butter toast and Greek yogurt. But I'm on a chia pudding kick right now. It's so
I saw it on Instagram. It looked really good.
it's just so nice and soothing on the tummy. I do like 1 to 3 tablespoons of chia, powdered peanut butter or real peanut butter, cinnamon, the element, chocolate sea salt or chocolate chai,
So good.
and then protein powder. Okay. What's one piece of advice you would give to, yeah, somebody with either PCOS or type 1 diabetes when it comes to their belief in making change in their body and that, it can be a lighthearted process?
And I think that, well, that's a really good question because I feel like, especially when we get a diagnosis of PCOS or type 1 diabetes, we always feel like we're stuck, right? Like this is,
Mhm,
and again, the medical system kind of reinforces that idea that like this is always going to be the way it's going to be. You're always going to feel a little bit more tired. You're always going to carry a little bit more abdominal weight. You're always going to have XYZ kind of stacked up against you. And I think I always believed that because that's what I had always been told that like this is because of your diagnosis, this is because of this. But truly just like radically flipping that kind of like mindset on its head and being like, my body is capable of change just as anybody else's is capable of change.
mhm,
And like my body is can build muscle, my body can be strong, I can have a good night's sleep and wake up feeling rested, right? So part of like how we make this change is like believing that it's going to be true, saying these things out loud to ourselves and really speaking with, I would say, speaking to ourselves with kindness. I do find that some of my women with PCOS or type 1 diabetes, it can be a slower process, right?
mhm.
Because we're still stuck in this mindset, I think, half the time.
And
um
conditioning, so much
yeah,
conditioning is
so
fed
much
to
conditioning, and then also just having to, especially with type 1 diabetes, like it's like this is like a real a few of my other clients had this issue too, is that stay in a calorie deficit, we're trying to count our calories, but then when your blood sugar goes low, you got to eat something, right? You got to have sugar, you have to have these things. So sometimes progress can be a little bit slowed that way. But in general, like even with my PCOS patients, just like believing that you can do it, right? Believing that the change is possible and
you.
knowing that despite what people are telling you, like your body is completely capable just as anybody else's body to make a change.
That was basically what I was gonna give as my piece
Yeah.
of was like constantly getting honest with yourself and like, you know, observing the beliefs that you're attaching to and asking, are these serving me?
Mhm.
Are these loving?
Mhm.
Because you can always like every moment's a blank slate and you can like you're the author of your story. You can always change the story, make it a better one. So I that's a big focus with my clients is I'm always making sure that they are talking so positively about the progress and their ability to move through it with ease and yeah, just make it lighthearted. Tell themselves that it's effortless until it actually is, right? Fake it till you make it. Um, yeah.
And I never, honestly, I truly never, even since when you first told me about the program, like again, like 2, 3 years, 2.5 years ago now, I was like, this is, it's not going to work for me. I've done all the things, like, it's not gonna work. I've done keto, I've done paleo, I've done the cabbage soup diet, I've,
Oh my god.
exercised, which is a crazy diet. No one should ever be eating cabbage
I
for
did the
20
same. My mom did that, and she made it
horrifying.
so many times. It's good, like, it tastes great, but
The
all
soup
day.
is the soup isn't that bad, but I'm gonna say cabbage when that in that amount for so many days in a row, no, thank you. So
It's like a place the fate soup.
yeah. And basically you just feel again like I think you especially when you try something and it doesn't work and then you try something and it doesn't work, it just reinforces that thing that you're always going to fail and that mindset. And like I had that going in too. I was like, am I going to be able to do it? Am I going to, am I going to am I going to be able to succeed? It's going to be another like tick on my chart of failures. And like it just was so eye-opening to me, like,
Mhm,
so eye-opening to me and, like, such a revelation for my life, truly. Like, it changed the trajectory of my health,
Mhm,
and, yeah. So, I couldn't be happier, and that's why I have so much passion about being a coach and, like, teaching other women, like, this framework and the foundations and the things that are actually important because it's life-changing for a lot of our women, and, like, being able to be a part of that is, like, such a amazing experience.
mhm. And it's so good. Yeah, you are so relatable to so many of their stories, which makes you such an amazing coach.
mhm,
And
Mhm.
honestly, again, I never thought I would love weight training so much, but now I'm just like person that comes to my door, patient clients, I'm like, gotta be going to the gym. You got it. Because any woman over 30, their primary exercise should be weightlifting. That should be our focus, muscle building.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't scream it from the rooftops enough just because as soon as we hit 30, everyone, we
Mhm,
start losing muscle mass at a faster rate. So
mhm,
our best like buffer against that is weight training and protein. So
mhm,
again, let's get back to the boring because it really is going to be the thing that's going to change everything for you.
yeah,
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be every day. That's the beautiful thing about it. Like there's a minimum effective dose, and that is what we do coach at FHK. Super efficient with the time that you are spending in the gym. And like I know for me, my favorite thing about it is it's like less hair washing. I know when I used to train, I was so sweaty and like now sometimes I get ready before I go to the gym.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I'm good for the day.
So you can kind of look cute for the rest of the day. But it was like I did so much. Like I remember I did hot yoga and then I
mhm.
would go for a run. And then the next day I would do F45 and then I would do another
I
fitness class.
hot yoga and
Like
F45 in one day.
yeah, and I was
Ugh.
like, "I gotta be doing more because, like, I'm still so unhappy with where I am in my body." So I was always trying to do more and then eat nothing throughout the day, and then the inevitable popcorn attack at night, and it was this a never-ending cycle.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and
remember.
so remember and then so when I told Mark what I was doing when I started my new, kind of when I started with FHK, I was like, "Yeah, I'm only weight training like 3 times a week. It's all I have to do." And he was like, "Well, that's gonna be a change for you." And I was like and now I, like, couldn't imagine going to the gym 2 days in a row. I'm like, 3 days is it, and, the rest of the days, I just walk my dog, and
Yeah,
that's
and you fill it in other ways, like whether it's, you're like filling your cup with your relationships,
yeah.
projects that you're working on, like passion projects, hobbies, like I don't know,
Cooking, like,
yeah, cooking, yeah,
more
cooking.
time in the kitchen.
I'm
Sourdough.
I'm such a I especially like for entrepreneurs and moms and just like honestly all women. Like if we can take some time away from the gym and allocate it in other like just like spread our time further. Um,
Mhm,
I'm all for it.
Mhm.
mhm,
Less difficult things, like less things in our life to make it more like make it feel harder, right? Like it should feel just the way I talk about like dietary plans and like what I should be eating in a day and trying to like and I'm like it should be easy, right? Like it shouldn't feel so difficult because the more difficult it is, the less sustainable it is, right?
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Okay. Wait, Christina, before we finish up, what's your advice
Oh,
for someone that's just any
yeah,
piece of advice for someone that's getting into their transformation, nutrition, fitness, mindset?
honestly, communicate. So whether you are living in a home with your family or your partner, or your best friend, um, communicate what you need, right? Like
Mhm.
like you said, Morgan, like you started this program and you communicated to your husband, I'm only going to be training 3 times a week. Like have these conversations so that you can set the goals and make it happen.
Mhm.
I will tell you that I would say like 99% of our clients who have a partner and begin this journey with us end up getting their partner to follow like similar targets. I've honestly like created targets for husbands. I've been like, yeah, okay, so they should have this much fiber and this much protein.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, like the whole household can fall in love with this lifestyle. It's not just, oh, the woman's lifestyle. And like your whole family can follow it. If you have kids, like I have 2 clients right now who they they don't even know each other, but they both just got a YMCA membership for the entire family. So, mom can go work out, kids can be swimming, and then mom and dad can swap, right?
Mhm.
And there's a whole evening for the whole family that's not just sitting at home and watching TV. But on that note of just like communicating, it really makes it a lot easier to like be successful and if you have that extra accountability in the home as well.
100%.
Definitely. Mhm. I love it. Yeah, and, like, communicating boundaries is not selfish at all.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, I feel like we can have, like, a whole other podcast on communicating,
Sure.
on all of these things we've just talked about.
No, definitely. Okay,
Mhm.
let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Any
Yeah,
last thoughts? We good?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think good.
Well, if today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to start working harder, not smarter, please apply for coaching. We're going to link it in the show notes. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to send us a DM on Instagram at @forherkind. Share this with a friend who needs to hear it. And make sure you hit subscribe so you never
It
miss
was
an
so
episode.
much fun.
So fun. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.